Hi, this is Thandi from Booredatwork.com, and today we'll be doing a review of the movie Dredd. Dredd, or Dredd 3D, which is out in theaters right now, is not a remake. It's not a sequel. It's actually a reimagining of the iconic 70s and 80s comic book Dredd, Judge Dredd. Now, this is not your Stallone Judge Dredd.
I am the law!
But this is a movie that actually stars Karl Urban, Olivia Thirlby, and Lena Headey. Lena Headey, of course, is the queen from Game of Thrones. And first of all, I will suggest, and I'll tell you this, I'm not going to put any spoilers in there, but definitely go watch this movie in 3D. It is definitely worth it. A lot of the special effects and also the slow motion effects in this movie work very well in 3D. So a little premise about what this movie is. Basically, this is a sort of a la Training Day type setting. This is a movie about a day in Dredd's life as he trains a rookie, who is of course Olivia Thirlby, and she is being given an assessment to see if she will qualify as a judge in this movie. Now, the cool thing about this world is actually the world itself. Now, Dredd as a character is very, he doesn't have an arc, he's very flat. If you ever read the comic, he's a very flat character, and that's something that Karl Urban has done very well. I mean, the whole movie, he's wearing his helmet. You don't see his face. All you see is basically this part of his face, so basically his mouth and his scowl, and that's it. And he does a fantastic job in bringing Judge Dredd out. You can see the individual who he is. Now, the lighter side of what this movie brings, of course, his character, but it's not really lighthearted. It's not something like you had with Rob Schneider, where he was joking around the place. She just brings more of a human perspective into this. Now, again, this world is a very it's very saddening, futuristic setting. Basically, Mega City 1 is a city that stretches from Boston to DC. Massive, yes, and there are about 800 million people who live there. The earth has been scorched with a nuclear war. America is a wasteland. That's pretty much what we have right there. So you have these big mega cities, and there's lots of crime. I mean, they have triple homicides on a daily basis. That's normal occurrences. And the only way to stop this is, of course, you have judges, and judges are judge, jury, and executioner. So basically, they pass sentences right on the spot there to individuals. Now, the whole idea of this movie takes place within a living area called Peachtrees. Now, Peachtrees is looks like a giant, massive apartment building that houses roughly around 750,000 people or so, close to a million people who live in that one big, massive block that goes up 200 stories. Now, this whole building is controlled by the villain of the movie, Mama, who's played by Lena Headey, of course, the queen from Game of Thrones, and she does a fantastic job of being very, very, very evil. Yeah, she's a crazy woman. Nuts. So anyway, now a lot of people can sort of compare this to the Raid Redemption. No, just because it takes place within a building and it's a small setting, it's not the same thing. The Raid is it's a very stylized action flick, martial arts flick, and it has a lot of slowdowns that Judge Dredd doesn't have. Dredd itself is a movie that takes place within the psychology of this world, and this is just one part of this world. It's very hard to explain, but it's something when you see it, you actually feel how bad this world is if you don't want to live there. And in terms of Raid Redemption, it's pretty much an action flick where you're going up floors and just trying to work your way up. That was not the idea with Dredd. Dredd is more of a world where you can see the problems, you can see the pain, you can actually feel why this place really sucks to live there, and why people like Dredd are needed, because when things are just pretty much crazy and chaotic. It's not a police state, it's just a world that has too many problems, and it's just pretty massive. Now, the wall setting itself is pretty cool, but one thing you notice when you start watching movies like this, looks kind of familiar. Yes, it was shot in Johannesburg, of course, same place that District 9 was shot, so it has that same familiar feel. And now this movie was done in a very low budget for a sci-fi movie like this, or an action sci-fi movie, at $45 million, and he did a fantastic job in showcasing what Mega City 1 looked like. Sprawling, it looked very cold, very, I do not want to live here. And in Mega City 1, closely 800 million people live in Mega City 1. I said 750 million live in Peachtrees. No, 750,000 people live in Peachtrees. Mega City 1 houses about 800 million people. So that's a lot of people to live in one big massive city. That's, you know, pretty much the whole population of America. Multiply that by 2, and adding to that probably like 100,000 people extra to that, you still won't get Mega City 1. So it's something to note of how big this is. Now, in terms of the action, it was great. Brutal violence is very hardcore, and I love the R rating for the movie. It basically showed what would happen if you had Dredd come to life. It was fantastic. Overall, I love the acting. Carl Urban was spectacular as Judge Dredd. He showed no character growth. I know that's kind of hard in the movie. You want to see your character grow, but Dredd doesn't have a character growth. Everything grows around him, and he really showed no character growth whatsoever across the board, and it was fantastic. Olivia Threadley also brought a lot of human side to it and brought a different element to it, and of course Lena Headey as Mama was just as evil, probably worse than her character in Game of Thrones, and I love that. I love the fact that this was done on a small budget. I love it. I mean, well, small budget it is for a big sci-fi movie. I love the fact that it brought the characters to life, and they didn't mess around with it. They actually just gave you Dredd, and you definitely enjoy it. Definitely go see it. Definitely go see it in 3D, because, you know, the main premise is about this. The other premise of this movie is about this drug called slow-mo, which basically when people use the drug, it slows down your perception of what time it's about 1% of what times it is. So everything slows down, and the special effects are used within that category too, and it's very, very cool. So definitely check out Dredd 3D. I recommend it. I would definitely go see it again. I'll probably go see it again this weekend. I think it's a very, very good movie that most people are just not aware about it. And yes, it is not.
I am the law.
But it's actually this.
I'm the law.
I'm going.
This is Dundee saying thank you, and always enjoy entertainment.